prestigious wins at the News Television Awards 2024. Powerful journalism to cutting-edge digital innovation. Production excellence to regional leadership. NDTV sets the benchmark. 38 awards, each a testament to your trust in
Hello and welcome to this exclusive NDTV panel discussion on charting India's infrastructure growth journey for Viksit Bharat, powered by Burma Conexpo India 2024. India's infrastructure sector is transforming at an unprecedented pace, driven by policy reforms, technological advancements, and large-scale infrastructure projects. Today, we'll explore how the construction, equipment manufacturing, and infrastructure development sectors are all coming together to build a stronger, more connected India. Now, to explore this discussion further, I'm joined by Mr. Anand Kumar Singh, Director Projects at IRCON International. We're also joined by Mr. Arvind Garg, Immediate Past Chairman, Burma Conexpo India, and Senior Vice President, Construction and Mining Machinery Business at L&T. Mr. V. Vivek Anand, the President at the Indian Construction Equipment Manufacturers Association, as well as the Managing Director at Caterpillar India, also joins us. Mr. Sandeep Singh, the Managing Director at Tata Hitachi Construction Machinery Company, and we are lastly also joined by Mr. Nalin Gupta, the Managing Director at J. Kumar Infra Projects. India's infrastructure journey is powered by flagship initiatives like Bharatmala, Gati Shakti, and National Infrastructure Pipeline. Turning these plans into reality requires collaboration on all fronts between the public and private sectors at large. So, Mr. Anand Kumar Singh, I'd like to ask you, as a key player in the sector, how is IRCON really leveraging public-private partnerships to fast-track projects while balancing execution timelines and the scale of the projects?
Now, I will tell you that PPP model is a very enabled model, and it has all the ingredients to make any infrastructure project a success. So as regards fast tracking, if you see, we have three major components. One is that the project where you have must be clear of all encumbrances. You must have clear sites. So in that, PPP is a big enabler. Instead of the government or the public being the only entity to be clearing all the clearances, in PPP we have the private players' strength also, and with so many regulatory things happening through the Gati Shakti platform, we are a very dynamic force today, and in all the projects that we undertake, with the method of PPP enabler, we already have our all clearances on board in the track. So therefore, when we mobilize resources, that is equipments and manufacturing this thing, it is a solace to them, and for us also the stakeholders, that when we bring in machine and we have a timeline. So today the equipments are very costly, very cost intensive. It has a huge time value. And in the PPP model, if we bring machines, idle them, then the entire charm of deploying very high capacity machine goes away. So therefore, through PPP, we make our sites available and we fast track our projects. And as regards the timeline, automatically with very high output machines today, and especially if you see some of them in the expo here, I think it is a marvel, and India technology and production of manufacturing equipment has really gone and crossed one of the best equipments around the globe also. So today I'll say that PPP is a very strong mechanism, and with private players and our banking institutions supporting us, I think there is no way that we can be stopped. In particular, IRCON, we are a large company. We have a turnover of about 12,000 crores, and we have a profit before tax of about 10%. Our top line and bottom line, we have been growing, and our capitalization of the market has almost doubled and tripled in the very recent times, and I'm sure among the crowd here, I will find a lot of supporters.
Right.
Dividends we are paying as high as 30%, 35%, and I'm sure that as a major player and with the confidence, with the government initiatives, we have a very important way to play, and we will prove in times to all the stakeholders to put more faith in us.
Mr. Arvind Garg, all these infrastructure projects would not be possible without the timely delivery of this heavy machinery. So take us through the challenges and how you overcome that element.
Mr. Anand Singh has already made a point about how infrastructure is being focused upon and how the government is building a very modern new India under the aegis of Viksit Bharat. Now for us at L&T, being one of the largest construction companies in India and with a footprint in various parts of the globe, ensuring that timely completion of projects is a key. I think the point you made about equipment being there in time is very, very important. And for us, the strategy that we have employed for ensuring that we have the right kind of equipment at sites is two-pronged. One is to have customized equipment. So the belief today is that there is a huge set of, I would say, entrepreneurs within the country who own machines. So machines that are readily available. We actually believe in empowering those stakeholders and getting machines from them to work with us so that they become part of the larger ecosystem. In addition to which, we ensure that customized equipment or equipment that is specialized is purchased by us because those equipment perhaps are not easily available. And since we bid for projects all the time, we are building a large set of customized equipment with ourselves, which we deploy at these projects. In addition to this, we have also ensured that digital plays a big role. And most of our machines today, we have almost 40,000 machines in our own portfolio. And all these machines are connected machines. So we are able to track what kind of utilization that these machines are having at various projects. And tracking those, we are able to efficiently deploy equipment from a site to another so that the equipment isn't kept idle. Mr. Singh already made the point about equipment being expensive, and there is no comfort in keeping these machines idle. So we are able to ensure the maximum utilization of these. In addition to this, the big activity that we have undertaken as a company is about skilling people, because we also believe that as the equipment evolves, a lot of telematics are going into the machines, they have computers on the machines, and therefore the operators need to be skilled to be able to run these machines efficiently. So we have got a lot of these skill training institutes across the country where we are skilling people, and even as a company, I think we have skilled more than lakhs of people in operator training, mechanic training to keep these machines running. In addition to which, again, after-sales support is the key. That uptime of the machine is key. So for us, it's very important that when we purchase equipment, that equipment has to meet certain basic standards of performance. But beyond that, it's about the ability of the equipment manufacturers to give us the kind of after-sales support that we need, besides having our own P&M teams who are able to efficiently manage these machines through training. So
Right.
having spare parts, having service at sites is equally important in execution, timely execution of these projects.
Right. Now, staying with manufacturing, Mr. V. Vivekanand, how is the industry aligning with India's growth agenda by promoting local manufacturing and technological innovation largely?
Kind of the growth what the industry has seen over the last 10 years, it's almost triple. And I'm glad to say that as ICMA, right, many of the member companies have really invested a lot on the capacity, and by virtue of which we have been really able to not just cater to the domestic growth requirement, but also the export requirements. And one thing which we are very sure is, going back to what we heard from Mr. Anand Singh and also Arvind, is it's important for us to recognize that as the scale of the project keeps growing, and then the timelines actually becomes a lot more important in the context of how the government is wanting to fast forward, we need to really just embrace technology. And if you were to really look at ICMA has got a separate panel, which is called a Technology and Sustainability Panel, which clearly actually has laid down the roadmap of what the technological advancement the construction equipment should have so that we are able to really just look at making sure that the quality of the infrastructure actually remains intact. And last but not the least is the cost efficiency, because we want to really just put the infrastructure at the lowest possible cost so that we can actually just make it even more feasible. So I think if you had to really just ask on the technology space, ICMA has got ICMA Technology Vision document, which actually outlines on 3 key pillars. One is the safety, because safety comes first. And then the second one is the solution. The solution is the one which actually helps us to really drive the quality infrastructure at the fastest possible rate of deployment at the lowest possible cost. And last but not the least, the sustainability.
We are, of course, leading the change, like you said, and of course, the construction equipment sector is also performing well. But Mr. Sandeep Singh, what really are the key challenges that are being faced by the industry, and how do you think we can overcome these challenges?
We had NIP 1, where investment of more than 100 lakh crore was committed, which went up very well. We have seen growth of 8 to 10% in the last 5 years. Going forward, we need very clear understanding of NIP 2, what kind of investment we are going to have in next 5 to 10 years, so that all Indian construction manufacturer can plan their investment, can bring in new technology, bring in new solution for our customers. That is number 1. Number 2, it is very important to monitor the projects, timely completion of the projects. The biggest challenge what we are facing today is coordination between state and central government, clearances for land, clearance from forest, clearance from electricity department, clearance from local authorities. So all this need to be planned much in advance so that there is no delay in project completion. Incentivizing bodies like state government or contractors, because today what is happening is NHAI is limiting they want some of the projects to be completed in 24 months. And they also talk about incentive to given to contractor or state government, but they need to be given on time. These people need to be motivated so that they can put manpower in place. So finance plays very, very important role. This is one part. The second part is the availability of finance for contractors to execute the project. Today, we are getting funds for 3 to 5 years, but some of these projects are long term. They go for 10 years. So therefore, availability of funds for long term is again very, very important. Indian government has come out with infrastructure funding. They put in 20,000 crores of rupees where they were supposed to lend more than 4 lakh crore. And this was started in 2022. But I believe we do not have a very clear picture that how is that going on. The other thing, Arvindji talked about skill level of manpower. Today, we have demand of equipments, we have a lot of work available in the market, but we do not have operators or technicians to take care of the equipment. So therefore, government has to come out with very clear policy in terms of regulating the operation of machine by licensed operators.
That's a whole host of crucial points there. Thank you. Dr. Nalin Gupta, how does J. Kumar Infra Projects then manage large-scale urban infrastructure projects coming their way and also ensuring timely delivery, cost-cutting, as well as long-term sustainability that is the need of the hour?
Any infrastructure project or any, let it be even the construction equipments, the basic always remains the same. It's a teamwork, followed by the primary focus, which has to be on the planning. People start projects, and if we don't have a proper blind plan system where what is to be done, how it is to be done, because every project can be done in various ways. So I would give some examples of we bagged some Mumbai Metro jobs, which was 25 kilometers to be constructed with 25 stations in a span of just 30 months. So as India, we are growing every year on year. The ticket size of the projects are going up, but the timelines for the projects are still remaining the same. And I think that's in a way good, because all of us, we come up with new technologies, new ideas, new machineries. And when there is a need is the mother of invention, as it's very commonly said. So a proper planned system of how the work has to be executed. What are the difficulties, as Anandji also mentioned, that the utilities, land acquisitions, your tree cutting permissions, traffic diversion plans, how would the erection be done for a particular project? If this planning is done in a perfect manner, so I would focus, we at J. Kumar, we always focus primarily when we get a project. Our main focus is on the planning of the project before we start jumping on the job site. Because the inconvenience that's caused to the public when you block a road, because we all know that, whenever in urban cities, green fields are still different, but when you're working in urban cities where maximum infrastructure growth is happening, and in tier level 1, level 2 and level 3 are now getting constructed because the land width available in these cities are quite limited. So a proper planned project always helps. Second is the system of construction with the problems that we have been seeing in terms of the availability of labor, availability of skilled manpower, experienced engineers, technicians, welders and every area. If we go in for more mechanized system, if we adopt systems like precast constructions with J. Kumar, we at J. Kumar, we have set a trend into the metro sector. In this, as I mentioned, that when we backed this order of 25 kilometers with 25 stations, it was something like an impossible task to be completed. It's like one station every month, so which is next to impossible to be constructed. So we went for precast system, wherein the quality of the construction improves to another level. The speed is much better. The labor involved, which is now the biggest challenge in the construction industry for all the contractors, and I am also a member of CFI where we have been discussing this problem at different forums and how do we overcome these issues. So if you go in for precast technologies, mechanized formwork system, where if you use bigger panel size, use of cranes, where the labor requirement drops and the productivity increases. So that's the type of arrangements that we are trying to adopt, which also helps into the cost cutting part of it.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number 1 in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust.
New day, new show, a new experience. Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
And impact your lives.
news that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
To the seat of governance, Delhi.
NDTV brings to you the best breakfast show. The breakfast show only on NDTV 24/7 every morning at 8 a.m.
Welcome to the NDTV Indian of the Year 2024 ceremony. Our absolute honor and privilege to welcome you to one of India's most iconic celebrations of excellence and achievement, the NDTV Indian of the Year 2024.
Mahakumbh, the festival of faith. The world's biggest spiritual festival. The divine dip and the spiritual sangam. A sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Mahakumbh 2025.
Kuwait says, Hala Modi. Prime Minister Modi's historic Kuwait visit. First trip to Gulf nation by Indian Prime Minister in 43 years. Prime Minister Modi on 2-day visit to Kuwait. The biggest coverage only on NDTV.
are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent.
Just to conclude, I'd like to ask each one of you really a critical recommendation, one key critical recommendation that you would give the government to boost India's infrastructure sector further.
I would say that there is not much the government needs to do now. In fact, it is for us to really follow the spirit and plan of all those movements. I will call it movement because if you have my views, I have been in the infrastructure for more than 35 years, and I have seen maybe a decade before, every clearance, every execution, every preparatory work used to be streamlined, linear. So you go to one department, get clearance, go to another department, get clearances. So I will just allay the concern that today we have a unified platform. We have Gati Shakti platform, which kind of is synchronizing all kind of developments, whether it is road, rail, port, Udan, whatever, anything you can think of, even urban infrastructure. So all the things are already collated on that platform, and something which I struggle for a block, for passing of a pipeline, it all comes there. In fact, all the departments and all the projects come on that platform and get it very easily.
So your key recommendation is to follow the plan.
Yeah, I think if we follow, there is nothing much to do.
All right, thank you for sharing your insights. Now, Mr. Garg, if you had to give a critical recommendation.
Yes, Sakshi, I have a recommendation which I think it's time for India to adopt now. With the focus of the government on infrastructure building and with the amount of money that is being spent, I think the adoption of the QCBS system in evaluating who would execute the project also becomes critical. I think in this Amrit Kal that we have, where we move towards our centenary, I think the time has now come for India to accept the fact that the system that we have been following hitherto of evaluating the successful bidder only on cost after a certain parameters have been met, perhaps needs to change.
So, Mr. Vivekanand, I'd like to ask you your critical recommendation then.
Yeah, there are two things. So one is with regard to the technology, other one is with regard to the capacity. So I did talk about the technology advancement that is really required. So I think there are two aspects of it. One is the government should really just incentivize adoption of technology. It's not just about the availability, so that the adoption actually becomes more faster, and then it actually translates into something tangible. The second one is the government should also really just promote investment in R&D to actually just innovate new technologies. So I think these are two aspects. So that I talked about India lagging to the point of India catching up. I think India can actually lead the way for the industry if the R&D investments are actually promoted by the government.
Mr. Sandeep Singh, what would you say? Technology, planning, and of course we have heard about the need for quality infrastructure. Your key suggestion?
Yeah, so since most of the things have already been highlighted by them, I would like to give recommendation for localization. Like in Tata Hitachi, we invested 60 years back and brought advanced technology by producing those machines and solutions here. So like Indian government with Atmanirbharta, Viksit Bharat, it is very, very important that we localize most of the components of machine so that we can bring the technology at a competitive price.
Lastly, Mr. Nalin Gupta, your critical recommendation then for boosting India's infrastructure further.
Every company is scaling up their capacities. Along with this, I think the one biggest issue that crops up is the non-fund based limits. The bank guarantees that we are supposed to give for every project, So this is a very important concern because Indian contractors, I would not only J. Kumar, but many more good contractors like us, they have proved their capacities and competency to execute various projects like the MTHL, coastal roads, bullet trains, metros, everything which was done by foreign companies in the past. So when these Indian companies, they have their capacity, if we can support them by allowing, the insurance bonds, which is allowed as a surety bond against the bank guarantee. Because when you go in for a bank guarantee, the non-fund based limits, which is issued by the banks, gets exhausted. And banks with the past bad experiences which they have been having, they have stopped giving comfortable limits to all the contractors. So that's withholding their capacity to participate into the huge growth in the country where they are capable to execute.
Right. Thank you all for sharing your insightful perspectives. As we learned, India's infrastructure success depends on strong industry partnerships, technological innovation, and policy-driven execution. Together, we will continue charting India's infrastructure growth journey for Viksit Bharat.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
NDTV shines with 38 prestigious wins at the News Television Awards 2024. Powerful journalism to cutting-edge digital innovation. Production excellence to regional leadership. NDTV sets the benchmark. 38 awards, each a testament to your trust in NDTV. NDTV stands for trust. NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number 1 in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your lives.
News that informs and keeps you ahead.
From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of governance, Delhi,
NDTV brings to you the best breakfast show. The breakfast show only on NDTV 24/7 every morning at 8 a.m.
Welcome to the NDTV Indian of the Year 2024 ceremony. Our absolute honor and privilege to welcome you to one of India's most iconic celebrations of excellence and achievement, the NDTV Indian of the Year 2024.
Mahakumbh, a festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip and the spiritual sangam, a sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Mahakumbh 2025.
Kuwait says, Hala Modi. Prime Minister Modi's historic Kuwait visit. first trip to Gulf nation by Indian Prime Minister in 43 years. Prime Minister Modi on 2-day visit to Kuwait. The biggest coverage only on NDTV.
We are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
ये सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी.
In today's interconnect.
माखन मिश्री दूध मलाई आशीषों से भरित पाई चिंता मुक्त ये दिन और रातें सुखा गुना मेरा बचपन सखी सहेली खिल खिलौने पुस्तक कापी टिफिन बस्ता विद्यालय को नित्य जाती शिक्षा से सवरा है रास्ता अम्मा की मैं बिट्टू रानी बाबा का तो पूरा गुलशन पढ़ लिख कर मैं बनूंगी अफसर नाम करूंगी उनका रोशन मुझको मेरा बचपन प्यारा प्यारे मुझको मेरे अपने गुड्डी गुड़िया खिल खिलौने प्यारे मुझको मेरे सपने गोदी मेले कहे कहानी मेरी दादी मौसी नानी मैं सबकी आंखों का तारा सुखद सलोने मेरे बचपन
बचपन वाकई मासूमियत और खुशी से भरपूर पल, जब ना कोई जिम्मेदारी होती है ना ही किसी प्रकार का तनाव हर पल घेरे रहता है। आपका हमारा बचपन ऐसा ही रहा है क्योंकि बचपन में तो ऐसा बीतना ही चाहिए, हंसते खेलते सीखते सिखाते। लेकिन इस तरह का बचपन हमारे सभी बच्चों के नसीब में है? शायद नहीं। हमारी लाखों बच्चियां इन पलों को नहीं जी पाती। उनका बचपन हमारे बचपन की हकीकत से कोसों दूर है।
बिल्कुल। Did you know that 1 in every 3 girls who are married in their childhood globally lives in India? Child marriage isn't just a cultural or social issue. It is one of the worst forms of human rights violations, mostly affecting young girls, denying them their right to free choice as well as the right to enjoy their childhood. It isn't just a social evil, it's a crime.
लेकिन बदलाव हो रहा है, जमीन पर ये दिख भी रहा है। शिक्षा, जागरूकता, नीतियों में बदलाव, कानून का सख्ती से पालन इस बदलाव को रफ्तार दे रहे हैं। कई पहल बदलाव ला रहे हैं। जस्ट राइट्स फॉर चिल्ड्रन एक ऐसी ही पहल है। ये 250 सिविल सोसाइटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस का नेटवर्क है जो देश भर में साल 2022 से काम कर रहा है। मकसद सिर्फ एक है कि साल 2030 तक देश भर में बाल विवाह जैसी कुप्रथा पर फुल स्टॉप लग जाए। ये कैंपेन उन जिलों में तेजी से काम कर रहा है जहां बाल विवाह का प्रचलन बहुत ज्यादा है।
Remarkably, what started as a grassroots effort has today become a transformative movement that's reshaping the nation's fight against this grave injustice. In a historic milestone in India's fight against child marriage, the Ministry of Women and Child Development has launched a pan-India campaign, Bal Vivah Mukt Bharat, as an effort to combat child marriage. The campaign is expected to reach up to 25 crore citizens for a collective pledge against child marriage. Take a look at this report.
With almost 1 in every 5 girls in India being married off before reaching adulthood, the social evil of child marriage needs critical attention. And that is the purpose of the pivotal Bal Vivah Mukt Bharat campaign launched last month in the presence of civil society members, grassroots advocates and government officials at Vigyan Bhavan. The strongest voice for raising awareness against child marriage came from powerful testimonies of young girls from different states like Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, who shared their personal journeys and struggles.
13 साल की उम्र में शादी होने के बाद फिर जब शादी हुई तो जब मैरिटल रेप था और डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस की हिंसा मैंने खुद सही है।
बाल विवाह मुक्त भारत अभियान की शुरुआत की गई है और ये महज एक अभियान नहीं, ये कोई 16 दिनों का 15 दिनों का अभियान नहीं, बल्कि ये निरंतर, जैसे हमने सभी से ये आह्वान भी किया है कि सब लोग, हम सब मिलकर ये निरंतर तब तक इसको जारी रखेंगे जब तक बाल विवाह मुक्त भारत ना हो जाए.
A key feature of the initiative is the launch of the Child Marriage Free Bharat portal, a platform to raise awareness, report cases and monitor progress. The Bal Vivah Mukt Bharat campaign seeks to engage multiple stakeholders in a collective effort to eliminate child marriage.
There are 23.3% children in India are getting married below the age of 18 years. Today is that day where the tide turns in favor of children, and I hope tomorrow will bring a new era of child protection across the nation.
The Bal Vivah Mukt Bharat Abhiyan will focus on districts with a high incidence of child marriage while engaging all stakeholders across the country. The campaign hopes to align itself with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of Viksit Bharat by 2047 by addressing states with a high prevalence of child marriage.
और आगे बढ़ने से पहले आप सभी यानी कि हमारे दर्शकों से अनुरोध है कि आप हमारी इस मुहिम से जुड़े. हम सबको हमारे बच्चों का भविष्य सुरक्षित रखना है और ये साथ मिलकर काम करने में ही मुमकिन है. आप सभी ndtv.com/childmarriagefreeindia पर लॉगिन कर प्लेज ले सकते हैं ताकि बाल विवाह जैसी कुप्रथा पर लगाम लग सके. अब हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं भुवन रिबू, एडवोकेट हैं, एक्टिविस्ट हैं, जस्ट राइट्स फॉर चिल्ड्रन के संस्थापक भी हैं. आपका स्वागत है हमारे स्टूडियो में. सरकार की पहल बाल विवाह मुक्त भारत अभियान को भारत में बाल विवाह के प्रचलन के रोक लगाने के लिए एक अहम कदम माना जा रहा है. ऐसे में अब आगे का रोड मैप आपके लिए अब क्या दिखाई दे रहा है?
भारत सरकार की बाल विवाह मुक्त भारत अभियान को शुरू करने की पहल न केवल भारत में बल्कि पूरी दुनिया में बच्चों की सुरक्षा के लिए एक मील का पत्थर साबित होने वाली है. बाल विवाह कोई भारतीय अकेली समस्या नहीं है, ये पूरे विश्व में व्याप्त है. लेकिन भारत में पहली बार न केवल समाज, न केवल कोर्ट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के इस पे अहम फैसले आए हैं, बल्कि पूरी सरकार ने इस पे जो कदम उठाया कि हम भारत से बाल विवाह को 2030 से पहले खत्म करके दम लेंगे, ये एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण कदम है. आने वाले समय में न केवल जागरूकता होगी, न केवल गांव-गांव में लोग इस पे शपथ लेंगे. 25 करोड़ से ज़्यादा लोगों तक ये अभियान पहुंच चुका है और पहुंचने वाला है. तो अगर इतनी बड़ी संख्या में देश के हर गांव में, हर स्कूल में बच्चों के बीच में जागरूकता होगी, अगर हर पंडित, हर मौलाना, हर चर्च का पादरी, हर धर्मगुरु इसके खिलाफ आवाज़ उठाने लगेगा, अगर हर बैंड वाला, हर हलवाई, हर वो व्यक्ति जो कि समाज में शादी को किसी भी तरह से मदद करता है, वो अगर ये पूछने लगे कि ये बच्चों की उम्र क्या है जिसके लिए मैं ये बैंड देने वाला हूँ, ये घोड़ी देने वाला हूँ. भारत में कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं है शादी, ये एक समाज का उत्सव है और समाज के इस उत्सव को किसी भी तरह से बच्चियों के बलात्कार का, के जघन्य अपराध का जरिया नहीं बनाया जा सकता. तो समाज इसमें अब आगे बढ़ के आएगा और सरकार ने ये कह दिया है कि हम आपके साथ हैं. सरकार द्वारा शुरू किया गया बाल विवाह मुक्त भारत अभियान न केवल पूरे देश को ये दिशा दे रहा है कि सरकार भी इसमें साथ है, समाज तो आगे बढ़ेगा ही. और कल अगर कोई बच्चा फोन करता है, कल कोई सामाजिक संगठन यदि इसके खिलाफ आवाज उठाता है, कल यदि कोई पंडित, कोई मौलाना साहब ये कहते हैं कि हम ये शादी नहीं करेंगे, तो उसके पीछे कानून का पूरा जोर है. कानून, समाज, सरकार और हम सब बच्चों की सुरक्षा के लिए तत्पर हैं. आज ये साबित हो गया है.
Now, Bhuvanji, the Bal Vivah Mukt Bharat campaign, it's built on the foundation of relentless hard work that's been done by various NGOs, your own organization, Just Rights for Children. So now going forward, how do you think you can use civil society as well as other NGOs that are working on this to really amplify this entire campaign and the messaging?
Child marriage is an age-old problem, and efforts have been undertaken to solve this crime and solve this human rights abuse in its worst form from at least 200 years. In the last 200 years in India,
Yes.
efforts have been made by various stalwarts. Today, we have reached that tipping point where there is a whole of society and a whole of government approach which has come together. This will usher in a new culture, a new era of accountability, a new era of action. This is the tipping point to end child marriage. We are living it right now because for the first time we have scientifically understood that the problem is existing in the worst 330 odd districts, and if we are able to reduce this by 70% in these districts, we will reach the tipping point of ending child marriage, and child marriage prevalence will become 2.9% over the next 5 years. So we have not only ushered this in through a lot of emotion, through the hard work and efforts by these ladies that you are seeing on the screen,
Yes.
you know, all around us. These women started this campaign. They actually took the first steps to light this fire, and this spark has become a wildfire not only in India but across the world. It started from India, but in the last 1 month, in 39 countries, people have taken the pledge. Countries like Burkina Faso, Democratic Republic of Congo, countries like Zimbabwe, Zambia, countries whose names sometimes we have not heard, are now looking at India. India has not only become the Vishwa Guru in other things, but this is India's message to the world in the 21st century, that we will end child marriage now through this collective accountability and responsibility. So this is changing as we are speaking.
जी बिल्कुल। और भुवन जी, आपके जीवन का भी लक्ष्य रहा कि हमारे देश में बाल विवाह पूरी तरह से रुक जाए, उसकी रोक लगे, और ऐसे में आपकी अपनी जर्नी कैसे रही है अपने लक्ष्य तक धीरे धीरे पहुंचने में, और जो राष्ट्रीय अभियान अब भारत सरकार का है वो कैसे आपके अपने अभियान से जुड़ रहा है?
आज से करीब 12-14 वर्ष पूर्व एक बहुत ही सीनियर पुलिस अधिकारी ने मुझे फ़ोन किया और कहा कि एक बिटिया की शादी होने वाली है अंडमान में, जिसने पुलिस को कंप्लेंट की है ऑफिशियली कि मुझे शादी से बचाया जाए, हम क्या कर सकते हैं? मैंने कहा आप तुरंत कार्रवाई कर दीजिए। अब दुर्भाग्य ये था कि भारत का कानून उस वक्त तक ऐसी कोई बेटी जिसकी शादी होने वाली है उसकी सुरक्षा के लिए कोई कदम नहीं उठा रहा था, कोई कानून में प्रावधान ही नहीं था। पुलिस FIR कब काट सकती है? तब काटेगी जब शादी हो चुकी है। तो अपराध के बाद तो पुलिस का रोल है, लेकिन अपराध को रोकने के लिए हम सिर्फ माता पिता को समझा सकते थे। सो हमने किया, माता पिता को समझाया गया, पुलिस अधिकारी वहाँ गए, और बहुत ही दुख की बात ये थी कि उस बेटी की शादी उन्होंने अंडमान से निकाल के तमिलनाडु लाए और तमिलनाडु में कर दी 2 महीने बाद। इस बच्ची ने उस पुलिस अधिकारी को फ़ोन किया और कहा कि तुम्हारा होने का कोई फ़ायदा नहीं। वो वहाँ के, उन्होंने मुझे फ़ोन किया और कहा तुम छोड़ दो ये सब जो तुम्हारा ज्ञान है, ये बेकार है। ये जितना भी तुम बाल अधिकारों की सुरक्षा की कानूनों की बात करते हो, अगर हम उस बच्ची को बचाने में नाकामयाब हो गए तो अब फ़ायदा क्या है? वो बेटी तो फ़ोन करके कह रही है कि कोई तुक नहीं है। इस घटना के कुछ वर्ष के पश्चात भारत में जुवेनाइल जस्टिस एक्ट, जो निर्भया के कांड के बाद एक पूरा बदलाव आया, पूरे मूलभूत परिवर्तन हुए कानूनों में, उसमें ये एक बदलाव था जुवेनाइल जस्टिस एक्ट का। मैंने उसकी ड्राफ्टिंग में सरकार की मदद की थी, तो मैंने तब सरकार को ये सुझाव दिया कि एक ऐसी बेटी जो कि शादी जिसकी होने वाली है, हु इज़ एट इमिनेंट रिस्क ऑफ मैरिज, शुड बी कंसिडर्ड एज अ चाइल्ड इन नीड ऑफ केयर एंड प्रोटेक्शन, जिसको सरकार उसकी सुरक्षा के लिए उसके माता पिता से उसकी कस्टडी ले सकती है। ये कानून में बदलाव हुआ, आज ये बदलाव है। ये 2015-16 की बात है, और शादी अगर कर दी जाए तो माता पिता के ऊपर तभी कानून में बदलाव आया कि एक क्रूल्टी माना जाएगा। 2016 में हमने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में ये याचिका दायर की कि अगर किसी बच्ची के साथ शादी होने के बाद भी कोई सेक्सुअल इंटरकोर्स या यौन संबंध स्थापित करता है तो इसे बलात्कार माना जाए, इसको पॉक्सो की श्रेणी में रखा जाए। भारत के सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने 2016 में इस पे फैसला दिया। आज भारत में ये आईपीसी की प्रॉपर ऑफेंस है। सेक्शन 63 जो बीएनएस अभी आया है, भारतीय न्याय संहिता में लिखा गया कि अगर सेक्सुअल इंटरकोर्स होता है और शादी के भीतर भी होता है तो ये रेप माना जाएगा। तो ये धीरे धीरे करके हमने कानूनों को बदला। अब उस बेटी को तो हम नहीं बचा पाए, लेकिन भारत की तमाम बेटियां जिनको बचाने की ये मुहिम जारी है और शुरू हुई है, पिछले एक साल में 2,15,790 बेटियों की शादी हमारे संगठनों ने सरकार की मदद से जाके न केवल रोकी है, बल्कि माता पिता को उसके बारे में जागरूक करा के उनसे अंडरटेकिंग लिखवाई है कि शादी हो गई तो तुम जेल चले जाओगे। इससे समाज में एक नए जागरण, एक नए किस्म के जो कानून के प्रति रिस्पेक्ट है उसका एक भाव जागृत हो रहा है। तो मुझे लगता है इसी दिशा में आगे हम बढ़ेंगे तो कामयाबी जल्दी मिलेगी।
In fact, we want to talk more about that. We've just spoken about how child marriage is one of the worst forms of human rights abuse, robbing children of their childhood, education, health, and freedom. But there are girls whose courage to fight against child marriage, sometimes despite overwhelming opposition, shows that change is possible even in the most difficult circumstances. We just heard from Bhuvanji regarding that. Now, these girls represent hope and resilience in the face of deeply entrenched societal norms. Radha and Preeti, their names have been changed to protect their identity, are among them. This is their story.
"14-year-old Radha's marriage was fixed by her father while her mother was staying away from home because of work. Radha tried to resist, but her alcoholic father did not listen and even threatened to poison her food if she refused to marry. Alone and vulnerable, Radha gathered the courage to take charge of her situation. One day, on the pretext of going out to buy groceries, Radha approached the deputy sarpanch of her village and told him about her situation.
बच्ची बहुत डरी सहमी हुई थी, रो रही थी फ़ोन पे हमके रो रो कर बहुत बात बताई कि ऐसे से हम शादी नहीं करना चाहते हैं, आगे पढ़ना चाहते हैं। हम दोनों आदमी मिलकर के निर्देश को खबर दिए, जो मैडम लोग हैं ये वहाँ से आए, कुछ हमारे जीविका के लोग भी हैं इसमें।
Upon receiving this information, the NGO Nirdesh, a partner of Just Rights for Children, swung into action. They took the paperwork and submitted it to the Child Marriage Prohibition Officer of her district.
बच्ची अपना आवेदन लिख करके दी जो उसके साथ घटना घटी थी। बच्ची का कहना था जो उसमें हमें ज़बरदस्ती शादी किया जा रहा था और लड़का बहुत उम्र में ज़्यादा था और दिमाग उसके पास नहीं था और वो शादी उसी रात होने वाली थी। तो वो लड़की अपने उप मुखिया के पास जाके बताई कि चाचा हमें बचा लीजिए, हमें शादी जबरन किया जा रहा है।
The team from Nirdesh, along with the police, counseled Radha and her family, made them sign an undertaking and stopped her marriage. They also arranged a safe shelter for Radha away from her father. Radha is now back in school and regular follow-ups are done to check her situation. Over 1,000 kilometers to the west from Rajasthan's Tonk emerges another story of grit, of how a 15-year-old Preeti's determination not to get married was supported by a local NGO. It was during Akshay Tritiya, a period considered auspicious for marriages, that Preeti's parents decided to get Preeti and her elder sisters married. One day while returning from school, Preeti came across NGO workers from Seco Dicon, a partner of Just Rights for Children, talking about the ill effects of child marriage at an Anganwadi center. Mustering up courage, Preeti approached the workers and told them about her own situation.
तो सिकोन डिकोन संस्था द्वारा जो मैसेज मुझे मिला किरण जी शर्मा के द्वारा, उस पर मैंने संज्ञान लिया। उस स्थिति में मैंने हमारे वार्ड पंच महोदय और वहाँ पे स्थानीय ग्रामीण से संपर्क किया, तो वहाँ पे शादी थी। उसकी सूचना के तहत मैंने मौके पे गया उनसे बातचीत भी की।
चुनौतियां बहुत सारी हमारे सामने आई, जैसे कि आर्थिक स्थिति बहुत कमजोर थी उनकी। हमने फिर भी समझा बुझाकर उनको बताया कि जैसे मेहनत मजदूरी कर रहे हैं, सोचो एक बार ज्यादा हो जाएगा थोड़ा सा, कैसे क्या करोगे। अगर आपकी बच्ची पढ़ लिख जाएगी, नौकरी लग जाएगी, तो कल को उसकी शादी तक वो ही मैनेज कर सकती है।
Preeti's marriage was stopped, her education was resumed, and her parents were made to sign an undertaking. Survivors like Radha and Preeti not only reclaim their lives but also become powerful voices in the fight against child marriage. It is important that their stories be told as examples of what can be achieved when all of society acts together. If girls are educated and the ecosystems from which they derive their courage are strengthened, more and more Radhas and Preetis will emerge from every corner of the country, taking this fight towards our united goal of ending child marriage in India.
बाल विवाह पर रोक लगे, यही है हमारी मुहिम का मकसद। और हमारे साथ भुवन जी लगातार बने हुए, हमने ये कहानियाँ देख रहे हैं, सुन रहे हैं आपसे भी। आपने एक बड़ी बात कही इस कहानी से पहले कि प्रोसिक्यूशन एक अहम पहलू हो सकता है इस पर लगाम लगाने के लिए, लेकिन असम में जब इसको इम्प्लीमेंट किया गया तो इसे समाज ने सीधे सीधे ह्यूमन राइट्स से भी जोड़कर देखा और तमाम सवाल उठाए। तो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन को लेकर वो कश्मकश अभी भी जारी है।
शायद इसलिए क्योंकि हम शायद इम्प्लीमेंटेशन को समझ नहीं पा रहे। सबसे पहला सबसे बुरा यहाँ अपराध क्या है? उस बच्ची जो 12 साल की है उसका यौन शोषण, उसका बलात्कार, उसको बेच दिया जाना, उसको उसकी पूरी तरह से स्वतंत्रता की हानि, उसके सारे मौलिक अधिकारों का हनन। इससे ज़्यादा बड़ा अपराध क्या होगा? और इससे बड़ा ह्यूमन राइट्स वायलेशन क्या होगा? हम ह्यूमन राइट्स की बात करते हैं उसके लिए जो अपराधी है, हम उसकी बात नहीं करते जिसके ऊपर अपराध हुआ है। अगर आसाम में बच्चियों को बचाने के लिए सरकार ने सख्त कदम उठाए और कानूनी कार्रवाई की, तो जिसको जेल भेजा गया वो कोई बच्चा नहीं था, वो एक 32 साल का, 35 साल का, 38 साल का आदमी है जो कि 13-14 साल की बच्ची का बलात्कार कर रहा है। और इसका नतीजा ये निकला, हमारा एक साथी संगठन है इंडिया चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन, उसकी रिपोर्ट आई अभी 2 साल बाद कि 2021 की तुलना में आसाम में 81% गिरावट आई है बाल विवाह की दर में। आसाम जहां पे धुबरी जैसे जिलों में 55% थी बाल विवाह की दर। बाल विवाह की दर का मतलब है 100 में से 55 लड़कियों की शादी हो जाती थी बाल विवाह की तरह। आज वहां 81% कानून में कमी आई है कानून के अनुपालन से। सरकार ने अभी जो ये कदम उठाया, ये अकेला कदम नहीं है कि सिर्फ कानून का डंडा चलेगा और कुछ नहीं होगा। जहां एक तरफ ये कहा गया कि जो अपराधी है उसे सजा मिले, लेकिन बच्चियों के पुनर्वास के लिए एक नई स्कीम लाई गए। इसके अलावा बच्चियों की शिक्षा के लिए अभी वहाँ पे एक स्कॉलरशिप स्कीम शुरू हुई है, जिसमें यह है कि हर बेटी जो कि 8वीं के बाद पढ़ेगी, 14 तक तो हमारे यहाँ भारत में मौलिक अधिकार है, 14 के बाद बच्ची क्या करे? तो शिक्षा को मौलिक अधिकार जब तक हम नहीं बनाते 18 साल तक, तब तक तो ये लड़ाई चलती रहेगी। तो सरकारों ने उसका एक तरीका निकाला और ये किया कि एक स्कॉलरशिप दे दो, एक स्टाइपेंड दे दो, कंडीशनल कैश ट्रांसफ़र दे दो, ताकि बेटी स्कूल में लगातार बनी रह सके। तो अभी आसाम में वो भी होने लगा। यदि एक व्यक्ति जो कि शादी में खाना भी खा रहा है, उसको हमने कहा कि तुम अपराधी हो अगर तुम बताते नहीं, तुम अगर रिपोर्ट नहीं करते, और यदि उस व्यक्ति को जो कानून बन चुका उसके ऊपर यदि अनुपालन हो जाए तो हम सवाल उठाएं उसके ह्यूमन राइट्स का वायलेशन है, ये कैसा कानून है? हमें कानून का जो रूल ऑफ लॉ है, जो कि एसेंस है सोसाइटी का, उसके लिए हमें पहले रूल ऑफ लॉ भी समझना पड़ेगा। अभी जो भारत सरकार ने बाल विवाह मुक्त अभियान को शुरू किया है, ये एक लार्जर पर्सपेक्टिव में जो एक स्ट्रैटेजिक बात हम कर रहे थे कि पॉलिसी, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन, कैपेसिटी, नॉलेज, इकोसिस्टम, एक शब्द मैंने अभी देखा आप लोगों ने कहा, इकोसिस्टम को पूरी तरह से चैलेंज करते हुए उस इकोसिस्टम को डिस्ट्रॉय करने की ज़रूरत है जहां बाल विवाह पनपते हैं, और टेक्नोलॉजी का प्रयोग